to eat. Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences, gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy to be with you. And I got bad news for you, because if you are south on 270, just around the usual suspect area there on 270, right around 40 in that category there, you're going to be with me for about an hour or so in your car, at the very least, if you're listening to me, because there's an accident. It's happening all over the place. People are going nuts. The plows half-assed the roads, and so we'll talk more about that down the line with Nick Schroer, who is not happy about it, and we'll follow up on that. But I want to get to the immediate star of the show, and his name is Stephen Moore. He's the host of More Money here at News Talk STL, and Stephen is finally going to give us the verdict on this economy that everybody keeps, well, at least people on the left, keep claiming is tanking and not doing well and all this kind of stuff. President Trump is at the highest approval ratings of any Republican ever, and even Obama ever at this time. So the Republicans love him, despite the fact that people are saying MAGA's out the door, all this kind of stuff. So, Stephen Moore, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hello, sir. How are you doing? I am doing well, and I think the economy is doing well, and I think this president is doing well, and so I'm feeling good, really good about 2026, and I think we're going to have a real blockbuster economy. I mean, look, at wages are rising faster than incomes. We've got gas prices as low as $3 a gallon. I don't know what you're paying out there in St. Louis, but it's probably less than $3.
Yes.
And so things are going really well for this U.S. economy, and it's thanks to Trump.
Yeah, and so technically, you know, the mechanics of this, when we say thanks to Trump, well, would that also include tariffs and things like that? I know President Trump was even talking this morning about the dividends it paid off when he made a deal with that company and took a certain portion of it, made like $40 billion off of it.
Right.
So what are the mechanics of how this is President Trump's economy?
Well, listen, we did Doge. We saved huge amounts of money on our deregulation. We saved money on getting rid of wasteful spending. Over $200 billion of waste was eliminated, but thanks to Elon Musk and Trump. Let's not forget the tax cut we passed, which will save the average family next year $2,000. Remember, every Democrat in the Congress voted for a $2,000 tax increase next year for every family. We're seeing huge amounts of investment capital in the United States. We are producing more oil and gas and coal than any other time in the history of the country. And and we've got a 94% reduction in illegal immigration. I mean, that's pretty amazing in 10 months.
Yeah. I mean, once they start to, I see today that Health and Human Services are already talking about just basically saying, if you're not a citizen, we're going to vet everybody. You're not getting any welfare benefits. And so that's got to be a savings too, ultimately, in the government's coffers. I'm not quite sure what's ever going to happen with that money. I guess they said they were going to be giving out to every family or what have you, but we'll see, because I know that already some of the Republicans are stalling on that idea, saying they want to use it to pay down the deficit. So we'll see how that goes. Hello. Oh, he's not there anymore. Now let's try to.
The latest,
there he is.
The latest estimate for our deficit. Congressional Budget Office, we're headed to $60 trillion in debt in 10 years. So we cannot allow that to happen. How do you deal with that debt crisis? You reduce the spending, obviously, and then you grow the economy. And we've done the second part. We are growing the economy. Now we got to get control of government spending. And frankly, it's both the Republicans and Democrats who are at fault here. They're the ones who created this crisis with the runaway. Both Republicans and Democrats love to spend money that we don't have, and that has to stop. And Trump is trying to do that with Congress, but we couldn't even get them to take away health care benefits for illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Stephen,
what are we going to do? Provide free health care for everybody in the world?
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's kind of been a running theme of mine on the show here, because I think if we are to develop better Republican candidates and better Republican politicians, congressmen and senators, we're going to have to acknowledge that Republicans played a part in all of the stuff that President Trump is having to undo. Because otherwise we're not going to perfect the kind of representative we want if we just simply talk about Democrats all the time.
Oh, that's exactly right. And look, you've got, frankly, in the Senate, maybe you've got 5 or 6 senators who actually want to cut spending, including, people like Rand Paul of Kentucky and some others. But, politicians love to spend other people's money. They have an R&D next to their name. And that's a big problem. I mean, we are spending the waste alone in the government. I really believe, for example, healthcare, we could get better healthcare in this country for half the price if we did it in a rational, logical way, which we don't. And by the way, Democrats are probably going to shut down the government again in 2026 if they don't get their way on expanded healthcare subsidies. It's just outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at what's happening here, especially when it comes to even drug costs and things like that, I think in general, go ahead.
No, I mean, You're exactly right. I mean, so we're going to have a big fight starting next week on what to do about these. Remember they called the Obamacare? Remember they called it the Affordable Care Act?
Right.
How is it more affordable? Anyway, I got to run. I got to do my Fox hit, but always good to be with you. I will be on the More Money Show on your station this weekend. We got great guests, and thanks again for having me on.
Always good to have you on. Definitely appreciate it so much, Stephen Moore, and appreciate you very much. Don't forget, Unleash Prosperity Hotline is the newsletter that all of you can subscribe to. It's totally free, and it's really great because this is where you're going to get the kind of news that you're not going to see sometimes reported on Fox News. And so even when you look at what's happening at the grocery store level, everything else, there is this myth that the Democrats and the news media, a lot of Republicans keep on letting them control our dialogue and our language. And so this whole thing about affordability is the Democrats have no business inventing a term like affordability, as much as they have driven the costs up of pretty much everything we've had to deal with, whether it be energy, gasoline, drugs, food prices, everything else. And for them to come in and act like, well, like they've just invented the concept of affordability. We shall not let them have that word. And it's interesting because Republicans are like, oh, yeah, we need to start. Don't speak their language. Don't let them decide how we're going to talk about the economy and everything else. Affordability is just one of these stupid blanket kinds of statements. To hear conservatives even use the word, you sound like you're a liberal. You sound like you're just aping something coming out of the Wall Street Journal or whatever else it is, some hack news outlet. Oh, well, we need to talk about affordability. No, we don't. That's not what affordability doesn't mean anything. Can anybody tell me what affordability means? Nobody can. It's kind of like when all of these politicians get out there like, well, that's not who we are. I'm like, well, who are we? I don't know. That's not who we are. We need to consult our better angels. It's like, oh, please. So what I'm saying is we have to take it step by step. What's it like at the gas pump right now for all of you? It's wonderful at the gas pump. And I could give you an example doing my real estate for the Walner team back in the spring when I filled up my tank of my Jeep, even putting in the lowest grade, the lowest octane grade, like 87 or whatever it is. It was like $75. And right now it's about 45 or a little bit under that. That's a big difference, especially when you're doing it twice a week. So, and imagine being someone who is running fleets or running deliveries or doing those kind of things. Those costs are always passed on to the consumer. And so when you lower gas prices and fuel prices, you automatically are lowering the prices of the goods that are being delivered by fleets and the trucking industry and everything else. Energy prices have substantially been reduced thanks to our oil independence and our continued greater reliance on coal, even talking about using nuclear power, things like that. Those are the kinds of things that are going to be really super important down the line. And as we talked with Jim Talent last week about this, your food prices are inextricably tied to the fuel prices and energy prices. You can't do anything, whether it be the cooking or the farming or the this or the delivering or whatever it happens to be, without having lower energy costs and lower fuel costs. And those things all tie in to how much it costs for you to how much it costs when you buy a steak or buy this or buy that. It's all tied to energy, and the energy prices are substantially going down. This myth somehow that we are going to lose the midterms and not only the House, but also the Senate. It's not going to happen. I'm standing here right now telling you this is not going to happen. And I have been right every single time on the big stuff. I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen. The problem is we start to believe what the news media and Mark Kelly is saying. Hey, am I bummed that President Trump has created a more normal Democrat as the speaker for the Democrat Party now in Mark Kelly? Yeah. But is Trump going to win this war? Hell yes, he will. Kelly is scared out of his mind. And I'll prove that on the other side of this. But you notice all the nutsos have slinked away. You don't hear much from AOC anymore, do you? Or the traitorous I forgot her name. I keep forgetting her name because it's so forgettable. The former CIA seditionist who on the video, she's disappeared too. She's not talking too much about how the National Guard are going to start killing people. Even Hakeem Jeffries has quieted down. You know why? Because they're letting Mark Kelly take it over. Well, if I'm President Trump and Mark Kelly's there, finish him. Finish him. You got the big dog now. Kill him off, finally. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. This is where we as conservatives need to stop being cowards and saying, oh, no, I just read an article from somebody, and, Donald Trump's made a miscalculation. He's put Mark Kelly now at the center, and Mark Kelly's seemingly a more normal Democrat. And so now suddenly you have a more normal Democrat out there speaking for the Democrat Party, and you don't have all these nuts. So it's better for the Democrats. They have Mark Kelly out there. Well, no, it's not, because if you look at it from a Warriors point of view, which I think you should look at it from, we've got the big dog. We've got the more normal Democrat right now in the arena. Now it's time to run him through. It's time to finish him off. And President Trump is going to do that. I'll talk more about that. But I do not believe that the Democrats are going to take over the Senate. For sure, they're not doing that, nor the House. You have to keep in mind, midterms are generally a changeover when you have a consequential president. It happened with Obama in 2014 and in 2010. Those kinds of things tend to happen, but it doesn't have to be that way, especially as President Trump is starting to reach more normal facets of society. So we'll do it without the Republicans, and we'll do it with MAGA Republicans. That's how we're going to have to make this happen. But we're going to have to work pretty hard, and we're going to have to make sure that we keep talking about the things that really matter to people on any given day. And it's the economy. Bill Clinton had something right about that. It's the economy, right? That's what it's all about. So
I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush until life's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why.
you people, some of the people need to slow down. You need to slow down. The Missouri Department of Transportation did a half-assed job plowing the roads and salting, and you got to slow down. I'll tell the story for you from last night, but two problems on the road right now. People going too fast and people who shouldn't be out there because they're too scared to be out there. And you're hurting people. That's what you're doing. If you're not comfortable getting out on the roads, don't go out on the roads. And if you are on the roads, don't speed, for crying out loud. I mean, my goodness, what about this is just not to be understood, you know? Speaking of MoDOT, Nick Schroer, Senator Schroer, if we're lucky, because he's traveling, is going to be on in just a little bit to talk about that. This is the same organization, same government department that constantly has its hands out for money. It always wants more money. They audit the MoDOT and find out they're wasting money, and they're still pulling this crap like they did yesterday over the last day or so. So this is Common Sense Radio, everybody. Happy Tuesday, the 3 Martini lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I rush until there's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why. I'm in a hurry to get things done. Oh, I rush until there's no fun. All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, Fallon family floors, ladies and gents. I was just thinking about Brian the other day because I actually went to deliver a pie to one of my home clients with my real estate. And so we delivered pies to them. Some of them came and picked them up, but it's this nice little thing we do for our clients. So went down to the home on Melissa Joe and my friend Susan. And so hooked her up in a home. And then the minute she, we got the home, everything else. She said, I want to redo the entire floor. And it's a one story. She said, I want to do the entire floor the same way. And I hooked her up with Brian. And I said, well, she's going to get another bid, buddy. You know that. He goes, oh, I don't care. I'm going to enjoy beating the bid. And I'll be darned if he beat the bid. All right. Not only in the quality of the flooring, but also in the installation. And of course, in the price and in the warranty. Lifetime warranties on these floors, people. There aren't many people who have the guts to do that. And all you have to do is go to o'fallonfamilyfloors.com, o'fallonfamilyfloors.com. It's right there on Highway K. So I went to deliver the pie, and she invited me in, and I saw the floor, and man, did it look nice. It was really beautifully done. She made a great choice, I told her, and Brian did a great job on the installation. He really does oversee a lot of this. His installers, oftentimes, most of them are all legacy installers, so their dads were installing floors back in the day. So it's part of a generational thing. And so you've got top quality, you've got pride, you've got great pricing, you've got great variety with o'fallonfamilyfloors.com. That's o'fallonfamilyfloors.com.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
This December 13th, join wreaths across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit newstalkstl.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. And pleased to be so. Ashland's over there. I'm drinking some Mountain Dew, man. Diet Mountain Dew. So sometimes when I am sleeping, I've gotten into this habit of wearing my ear pods while I'm sleeping. And I listen to this Spotify music. And it's like this really nice, contemplative type of music. I started doing actually after my mom passed away because I was having trouble sleeping, and Dr. Ojal is my guy. You know, he's and they suggest finding ways to kind of calm yourself a little bit more. It wasn't that I was like upset or just depressed or anything. I just couldn't really sleep a whole lot, and I needed some way to kind of find myself meditating because I hear everybody else and it's just kind of like, ugh. So I listen to Spotify music with my headphones on, and that's okay. You can do that's a Dr. Ojal approved approach. But they have commercials. I don't know how they do that. They have commercials though in between the music. So you're listening to this really peaceful music, and then somebody was like, Mountain Dew. And they're like, it's like they really intellectualize Mountain Dew. But apparently the advertising works because I'm drinking Mountain Dew today because of those commercials I hear. And I think they described the flavor, which I don't remember what it was, but and they said, give us something real and true. And it made friggin' Mountain Dew like sound amazing. So that's why I'm drinking Mountain Dew, because I heard that little advertisement in that Spotify thing. I guess you can subscribe to it or do whatever, but apparently they named some flavor. So apparently it's not exactly the best way to go to sleep, because then I started thinking, oh wow, I never knew how they described the flavor of Mountain Dew, and I still can't remember but it was a lot more complicated than like lemon lime or whatever. It was some tropical lime flavor or something. I'm like, oh, that's the flavor, because I don't know what it is. I don't know what the flavor is. And so then I'm not going to sleep because I'm trying to figure out, I never knew what the flavor was. That's interesting. Then I started thinking about Dr. Pepper. And my girls love Dr. Pepper. I can't stand Dr. Pepper, but my girls love it. And of course, because I'm dad, I'm constantly doing the same joke over and over again. And I say, hey, did you know Dr. Pepper is so misunderstood? And of course, they don't get it because I don't realize that they were not born in the 70s like I was, when Dr. Pepper used to do its commercials and talk about how misunderstood it was because nobody really knew what the flavor was. I mean, it was, so that's why they called it so misunderstood. And then they said, but if anyone would try it, it would taste good. And so I didn't really know exactly what was going on. And so so that's what I do. So that's another thing too. I started thinking about that. Is our Facebook on, or is there nothing going on with Facebook? Because I don't see anybody commenting or doing anything on there. So I don't know what the deal is. Oh, I don't see anybody. I must be on a need to know basis for Facebook, because I can't see anybody commenting on the Facebook page that I am on right now. No one. I don't know. Huh. Interesting. Really? Yeah, I know this is terrible radio, but I'm not seeing anybody. So sorry guys, if you're saying something, I can't see you. And I don't know what you're saying or what you're doing, because I can't see your comments on the screen here. So my apologies there. Definitely, for sure. I don't know whether it's this one here. Yeah, live. Okay. Yeah. View on Facebook. Oh no, never mind. Just pushed a button I shouldn't do. There, now everybody showed up. I just redid it. Yeah, okay. There you go. See, now you guys are catching. Now I can see. I just had to reboot it. Which normally, if I wasn't on the air, I would kick it. That's what I would do. But I can't do that to this equipment because it's not mine. Anyway, Julie says, I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Yes, of course, because you never know who you are, blah, blah, blah. And then Phil saying his grandpa loved Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew! I think I'm a little on the spectrum, because I remember every commercial ever made. And I remember the words to it and everything else, like especially the TV ones. It's really weird. It's like I remember everything, and I don't know how I do that or whatever. I need to get on to the business at hand here. All right, so this is something. And by the way, Nick Schroer is he's headed to grab this award, which is really cool because he's a fantastic conservative, but he's flying, and so he was going to be on at some point in this hour here, but he's stuck on the tarmac, and I'm not quite sure whether it's the tarmac here or the tarmac there, but apparently he's supposed to be there by now. They might be just kind of going to the gate and doing whatever. Oh, speaking of the airport, let me just do this, and then I'm taking a break, and I'll come back. This is what I meant to talk about from last night. So Aiden had to fly back to Tempe, Arizona last night, and where it's 60 degrees, of course, and beautiful, whatever. Good for him. But his plane was continually delayed. So finally, it was last night, and it was like 7:45 in the evening. After all that time, it was 7:45, and I took him to the airport, and we were on 170, which was relatively clear, but people were driving out of their minds. And I was telling some folks, normally I am really not a pearl clutcher when it comes to driving. I love driving. I love road trips. I speed, all those kinds of things. So it's not like I'm a baby about it. But my goodness gracious, I've never seen anything like it, where you had a mixture of people that were equally dangerous. You had people in these pickup trucks hauling ass on 170. It's wet. It's still snowy because, of course, the snow plows just decided, I know what we'll do. We'll just go ahead and just make one lane here, and the rest will all and screw the off ramps, for crying out loud. Why would we do those? So they leave just one lane open. There's another one that's kind of slightly open. But you have all these people hauling rear. You're like going way too fast. Like, I couldn't believe it, how fast they were going. I'm thinking, you people are idiots. I'm not going to go so far as to say I'd love to see you hydroplaning and flipping over 100 times. But still, you're going too fast. And then you have the people who are going too slow. So those are the people who are out, but they shouldn't be out because they're too scared. And there's nothing worse than a terrified driver on the roads. They're the ones probably that cause the most accidents. The people who are constantly braking, they're not going very fast at all. Some people have gotten to the point where they're just turn their hazards on and basically give up. It's like, if you have to drive with your hazards on, you don't belong on the road. Your hazard lights are not for that. It's not to tell people that, well, I'm going to go 10 miles an hour no matter what, and you all have to go screw yourselves. If you've got to put your hazards on while you're driving, you probably should have stayed home, because putting your hazards on is not the, baby on board thing or whatever else it is. It's not your cloak of shielding you to not have to participate in modern civilization when it comes to traffic. You can't just opt out. So we had that's a new thing, apparently. It's like backing into parking spaces. For whatever reason, the minute it starts to rain or the minute it starts to snow, people turn their hazards on and then just basically quit. And it's like, no, you can't quit now. You got to keep with the traffic. You got to keep with the flow here. Keep it a general pace. Stop slamming on your brakes. Understand the rhythm of civilization and do it. So we had two of those, and my goodness gracious, I was actually terrified driving to the airport. I was thinking, we're going to get into an accident here. And so I was just kind of surprised by the way people were operating. And the same thing happened, when I was coming into the station. As usual, 270 South is a parking lot right around the Page Avenue there, and the going into Highway 40. And it was clear that what happened is people were cruising down 270. It wasn't fully plowed. It wasn't salted. It's a full on 24 hours after the storm, and MoDOT has still left piles of snow on a major highway. So, and they just kind of leave it there, and usually it's in right close to that leftmost lane, and it's halfway into the lane. So you've got one wheel on that lane, you get the other one on that one in the snow. And that's how people get into accidents, and they wipe out and everything else because either they're going too fast or whatever. I was shocked at the number of people who will tailgate you in this kind of weather. I mean, I don't know what has transpired over the past couple of years or so. I kind of tend to think it goes back to COVID, because I remember I loved COVID because no one was ever on the highways except for the people who were passing you on the right going like 100 miles an hour. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, in their hoopties usually. And I'm like, wow, this is it was like Mad Max out there. I mean, it is crazy. And Amy points out the tractor trailers need to calm the F down. They mess up everything up for hours. That's true too. Well, yeah, especially if you're an illegal alien tractor trailer driver. He just killed 2 more people the other day, jackknifing. But yeah, it is crazy. So sometimes if people just kind of calm down a little bit, and I'm not, I mean, maybe I'm getting old. I don't know, but I was never really like that. I was never really mercenary about driving in this kind of weather, but for some reason, people were crazy yesterday. Man, you guys see what's happening in Ireland? I will tell you, with this group of people, they have created like death squads now over there for left-wing politicians who are ruining their country and their culture. And if I'm the left and I'm Democrats now, consider that President Trump is doing you a gigantic favor by fixing things before people start taking matters into their own hands. I'm just telling you. He's having a cabinet meeting now. I think it's the 8th one he's had already. A ninth one he's had already. So we might check in with that one too. It's Common Sense Radio.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Clayton Sleep, just talking about Dr. Ojal. And check this out. This was so great. I got a call yesterday from Richard Newstetter. And he left me a message because I missed it. I was doing something else. And left me a message. He goes, you know what? You know who just came into the jewelry shop today? Dr. Ojal. And Richard Newstetter had no idea that Dr. Ojal was also a sponsor of free common sense conservative radio and partners in supporting the Allman Report. But Dr. Ojal went to Newstetter's Fine Jewelry because he heard me talking about it on the air. And he thought, well, I'm going to go and see my brother over there, and my brother in the Allman Report. And so there's Dr. Ojal at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry, and Richard and him just basically hit it off because they're just great guys, and we all kind of have a good vibe here in the Common Sense Nation. So Richard couldn't have been happier to discover that Dr. Ojal was also a supporter of the Allman Report and free common sense conservative radio. So it was one big happy family and just really super amazing. Dr. Ojal, as I mentioned earlier, has been my sleep guru. Sleep problems are a real problem for people. They're really causing a lot of weight gain because your body doesn't trust the fact that you're taking care of it. And it's not getting enough sleep, so it has to grab the energy from something because you're depriving it of its proper sleep. And so you have to be in a situation where you really Get that energy boost by sleeping a full 8 hours or 7 hours, whatever, and getting quality sleep at the same time. Otherwise, your body's going to say, all right, Allman, you're not taking care of me. I'm going to make you fat, but I'm going to take care of myself. That's how it's going to go. So don't let that happen. Sleep apnea is probably one of the more prevalent types of sleep problems. And Dr. Ojala has not only take-home apparatus for you that does not include the CPAP machine, which can be a pain. He also has other ways of relaxing you, getting to a point, getting your body to a point where, like, for instance, insomnia is not a thing. He doesn't want you drinking yourself to sleep like a lot of people do, or using sleeping pills or that kind of thing. Great expertise. He's a worldwide expert, and also now a friend of Richard Newstetter, and of course, a person and a customer of Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. So thank you, Dr. Ojala, for your support of free, common sense, conservative radio, and thank you for giving it back to one of your other partners in support of the Allman Report.
Renewal by Anderson asking, are you still battling cold drafts? Windows icing up again? Utility costs surging? You're worried about paying more every month? The truth is, you may already be paying for new windows and money lost to energy escaping your home. And here's the thing, you don't want to do this project twice. Renewal by Anderson spends every day replacing bad technology, poor installation of windows and doors that simply don't stand the test of time. But you can afford the best. America's most trusted window replacement company, Anderson. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit rbastl.com. Learn about our December savings event right now. 877-WINDOWS, rbastl.com. Renewal by Anderson. Superior products, exceptional service.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Mondami's Crazy Worldview and the Jewish Vote will speak to another one of our friends we met on our Newsmax Israel mission trip, Rabbi Walicki at 4:05.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. And it's the Allman Report on News Talk STL, people. Jamie Allman here with you, and happy to be so. Phil Powers, no, it's not Rosie O'Donnell moving back, not at all. But I will tell you, Ellen DeGeneres is moving back. She just announced that she's tired of the weather in the UK and likes it sunnier in California. So she and her partner are moving back to the United States of America. Which is probably not a bad idea because Britain is already. It's kind of weird how the more it basically gives itself up to Muslims and everything else, it's also going back to the Britain that we shot musket balls at. So I don't know whether you heard lately that in Britain they're considering ending jury trials and just using judges. I mean, it's no wonder. I've always said this because I never really got all that thrilled about, royal weddings and the royal family. I still think it's weird that Americans have an obsession with British people who, we basically killed their ancestors to get away from them. So I don't understand why we would then 200 plus years later gravitate back to the British thing. It's like really crazy. I could understand the allure of someone like Princess Diana and that kind of thing, but British people are pretty trashy. I don't know whether you realize that or not, but they're not. There's a reason why we revolted against them. I realize that a lot of us were essentially descended. A lot of the colonists were British too, to a certain degree, or British subjects at least. But a lot of us were German and everything else too. But they're not very good people. I'm sorry. They just aren't. Their food isn't good. Their teeth are rotten. They do this double-decker bus annoyance. And not only that, and yeah, they've been great allies. Okay, whatever. But we've saved their rear ends a lot. But now look what they're doing. They're arresting people. There was a guy who was arrested for taking a picture of himself with a gun while he was in the United States. The British police arrested him. Never mind during COVID and everything else. Honestly, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean about it or anything, but the fewer British people around me or influences or whatever, the better off I am. I'm sorry. I'm still bitter over the Revolutionary War. I'm still bitter over the stamp tax. And you killed Crispus Attucks, man. Make you pay for that for the remainder of your days. You taxed the tea. These people are weirdos, There's nothing really, like the British really haven't really contributed a whole lot as it relates to invention, art, poetry. What are they? Music? Okay, so we got the Beatles, big whoop, And what is it, Rolling Stones? Are they British too? I don't know. So we had, the Beatles, whatever. But even they were kind of obnoxious, though, to tell you the truth. So, except for Ringo, who was cool. He was more American than he was British. But look at me all mean about the British. But they're doing really bad things over there. During COVID, oh my Lord, it was unbelievable what they were doing over there. And they were invading churches, kind of like Canada, whatever. And everything else. They were just really doing bad things to their citizenry and remain so, and arresting people for waving British flags when all of the Sharia mobs get out on the street and want to take things over in Britain. So, I don't know what's going on, but that's not what I really wanted to talk about. But anyway, Ellen DeGeneres is leaving. She's coming back to the United States, so apparently President Trump is a little more tolerable than she maybe thought, considering. One more quick traffic note. Michael Moore, this is kind of funny, but it's not. But he says, what is crazy on 270 South yesterday, about 1 p.m., passing a group of cars going about 60 miles per hour with a donut tire on, those little donut tires. It's like, people are nuts. It's kind of funny until somebody loses an eye, then you're kind of in trouble. All right, so I'm gonna keep the Euro flow going here, and Nick is gonna join us in the 1 o'clock hour about MoDOT and the roads and things like that, and a special presentation that might be given to him today. But anyway, in Ireland, some of the citizens have finally had enough. And it's actually turned into something that is not unlike the so-called right-wing death squads. And I think the left here and Antifa and all these other guys who are pushing their luck need to thank goodness that President Trump is solving problems that some people won't have to take into their own hands to solve. So the lefties ought to be thanking Trump considering what's happening in Ireland. I'll have that for you on the other side. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. News Talk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michael's Flooring outlets, or at the News Talk STL studios.
Hey, it's Chris Arps, and together, we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit newstalkstl.com for complete drop-off locations.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the administration is optimistic about resolving the long-running Russia-Ukraine war.
We put points on paper. Those points have been very much refined, but as for the details, I will let the negotiators negotiate, but we do feel quite good, and we're hopeful that this war can finally come to an end.
Steve Witkoff is meeting with Vladimir Putin today in Moscow, pushing a U.S.-backed peace plan for Ukraine. He's joined by Jared Kushner, and Witkoff hopes to break a deadlock over issues like territory and security guarantees. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin accusing Ukraine's European allies of sabotaging the peace process.
The Russian president says the Europeans don't have a peace agenda and are on the side of war. Putin accuses Europe of amending peace proposals with demands that are absolutely unacceptable to Russia, thus blocking the entire peace process, and then blaming Russia for the lack of progress.
That is correspondent Rich Thomason reporting. The Northeast is seeing its first major winter snowstorm arrive just as the Midwest began to escape snow and ice. It had snarled travel after the Thanksgiving Day holiday. Meanwhile, correspondent Haya Panjawi reports the forecasters are saying the weather could get severe.
Ashton Robinson Cook with the National Weather Service's Forecast Center says this storm system is centered over the mid-Atlantic and moving through the region.
It'll strengthen as it gets out over coastal waters southeast of Long Island. And as it does so, there's going to be a strip of winter weather, primarily heavy snow, from northeastern Pennsylvania, northeastward through New England and parts of Maine.
The National Weather Service issued winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Connecticut, and New York ahead of the snow's arrival. I'm Haya Panjwani.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-226-5454. That's 800-226-5454. 800-226-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
It's a cloudy, cold afternoon. The temperature is not making it past freezing, up to about 29 degrees for the high. Might get a little peak of sunshine later this afternoon, right before the sun goes down, but I wouldn't expect much of that. Generally cloudy skies. Interesting day tomorrow. It'll be a warmer day, up to about 39 degrees. However, another cold front moves through late tomorrow. Could bring us a couple of flurries or maybe a light mix, but that would be late in the afternoon and into the evening hours tomorrow. Most of that is going to be north of St. Louis, and then it's going to turn much colder the rest of the week. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
PRI Global now has Prismatic, an AI-driven platform that can help you and your business, especially in construction. Simplify your operations, secure data, modernize your business from the cloud up. Visit PRIglobal.com. Innovation with talent and technology, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. Check them out. PRIglobal.com. PRIglobal.com.
Join the Constitutional Coalition and the Heritage Foundation on Wednesday, December 3rd for Foundations of Freedom, honoring the past, securing the future. Constitutional scholars John Malcolm and Brenda Hefera highlight a panel discussion reflecting on the vision of America's founding fathers and the enduring significance of the Constitution. That's Foundations of Freedom, Wednesday, December 3rd at the Frontenac Hilton. Reception begins at 5:30 p.m. with discussion at 6:30 p.m. RSVP at constitutionalcoalition.org. Paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
101.9 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth.
You guys up for a little Chieftains? Oh, holy night. It might be a little too early for Christmas music. I understand that. Especially this one. But you guys have to know, too, that I'm going to be bringing back a favorite of the Allman brand during Christmas, called the Oh Holy Night Off. And that is where you all are going to tell me, and we're going to figure out a way to do that. You guys are going to tell me what your favorite version of Oh Holy Night is, because everybody has a favorite version of Oh Holy Night, except like Mark Kaysen. But everybody has a favorite version of Oh Holy Night. I have a couple of them. One of mine is Nat King Cole. And actually, the other is John Denver, if you can believe that. But yeah, anyway, we'll get to it. And then we have, and Kathleen says it's not too early. Great, thank you. But, I mean, it is the third day of Advent. I got out the Advent calendars for the girls, and they're over the Advent calendar, so I'm doing it on my own. I have my own Advent calendar. And I used to love the Advent calendar because even though it had pictures in it, it was the same Advent calendar every year. Like, we didn't have like new Advent calendars. And we certainly didn't have the ones where you'd open it up and it'd be like a chocolate in it or an ornament or whatever. It was like a window, and it basically had like a stocking in it. But it was still so exciting every morning to come down and open the window on the Advent calendar. Still is exciting to me. And it's just like a little simple thing in the window. It was great. It was great. It was just a little ritual that is so fantastic. I should probably tease the girls and put up that spy that always works so well. What was that thing called again? The thing, Elf on the Shelf. Yeah. Elf on the Shelf worked big time. Then when they found out the Elf on the Shelf wasn't real, it broke their trust, and they painted their fingernails black. And no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I play this Chieftains version because, of course, the Chieftains are a world famous Irish band, and this version of "Oh Holy Night" is from an album called "The Bells of Dublin," and of course, one of my, if not my favorite, rock and roll artist, Van Morrison, is from Ireland. And in fact, I think he had the key to Belfast taken away from him because he protested the COVID restrictions there. And so there still are a lot of really decent Irish people who are there in Ireland, and they are watching the entirety of their country being taken away by Islamists and North African migrants who are raping everybody and stealing things and doing whatever. And the government of Ireland have basically allowed this beautiful country to be cucked. And there are a lot of Irish people who don't like it. And what's interesting, I will tell you right off the bat, is that now that we have seen what has happened, the things that we've seen happening, like the Somali fraudsters, the violent Tren de Agua Venezuelan gangs taking things over, how the Democrats and the left and even some Republicans have allowed our country to be, the blood of our country to be poisoned by people who don't care about our country. They don't even bother to be legal in this country. And so they have destroyed it. They are destroying our, crapping all over our traditions. There was in Portland, I believe it was Portland, they have a Christmas, scene or whatever it happens to be, and they don't even mention Christmas. The little tree lighting ceremony, don't even mention Christmas in the whole thing because they're afraid of offending all these other people. It's really terrible. In this country, and again, we don't have any apologies to make about what a melting pot this country is and how tolerant Americans are of people from other countries who want to come here and contribute and live a life and be legal. We don't have any apologies to make about that. So I'm never going to apologize for that. And you could call me a xenophobe or a racist or a right-wing activist or whatever you want to do. I really don't have the burden of giving one F what you think about my opinion on this. So, I mean, I care what you guys think about, obviously, but not the people on the left or the Democrats or some, media watchers or whatever. I really don't care. But if we admit it, we could see what's happening, and it is. And I don't even care whether Dearborn is all Muslim and things are in Arabic up there. If these people are legal, then great. But if they're not, then they need to be deported. The Somali community, similarly, all the refugees who currently do not have citizenship here need to be deported. We can't continue to have people here who are squatting and leeching and taking our cultures away and invading our traditions. We can have your traditions alongside you, whatever you're doing with Muslims or whatever that is. We have mosques in here, and I have many Muslim friends, everything else. We can live alongside each other. But if you're illegal, you need to get out of here. And this temporary thing, somebody is putting forth, there's a Republican that is putting forth a law that would ban dual citizenship. I think that's a great idea, except I do have a buddy who's Canadian and American. So I don't know. Adam Fagan, I'll have to check with him on that first. He's my buddy. But still, you guys are getting the point. So over the past week or so, we've seen the ways in which, and I guess even over the past year or so, we've seen the ways in which the Democrat and Republican parties have purposely agitated us to take away our control of our own destinies and instead have them be the ones to take control of it. So they have allowed this huge influx of refugees, Haitian, Somali, otherwise. Back in the day, it was the Afghan refugees. They allowed open borders. Joe Biden is a traitor to this country, the way he allowed the borders to be open and invite people here who only wound up raping, killing, robbing, molesting people. And it's a disgrace what Joe Biden did, and he ought to pay for it. And so you have all this stuff happening. You have the Somali fraud and everything else. And so President Trump is trying to resolve these issues that Democrats and Republicans have created. And I know they're spending a lot of time attacking President Trump over all this, but the reality is people ought to be thanking him. Because you know what happens when it gets to a breaking point for certain citizens of countries where their leadership is destroying their country and their culture right before their eyes? You get this, which happened in Northern Ireland, and it's called the New Republican Movement. And these are armed and masked individuals who are now claiming to be on the hunt for those who are destroying Ireland.
To the people of Newry, Mourne and Down, we, the New Republican Movement, have watched their councillors and MLAs over the past 12 months. The level of disrespect shown.
These guys are standing in front of the Irish flag with big guns.
The people who put you into power. This cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland. We are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either. The New Republican Movement will take immediate action against anyone who threatens our ways of life and the safety of our women and children. We have your addresses and known your movements. Every one of you are legitimate targets as of today. The New Republican Movement, 28/11/25.
So you heard that, right? So these guys are saying, basically, that we know where you live, and every single one of you, as of this day, are legitimate targets. Obviously, for violence at their hands or whatever. Obviously, this is an unacceptable situation to have this going on in Ireland. You can't have a bunch of people running around hunting politicians and other people like that. But this is what happens when you have so stressed a society and a culture that if these people cannot rely on leadership to protect them and look out for them, and these aren't just a bunch of people who are upset because they're not getting their way in church or whatever. These are people who are literally watching their culture disappear before their eyes. And so you don't want people to get to a point where they have no control over their destiny through any of their elected officials. Because then what you do is you get a bunch of violent people like this with guns and masks and saying, we're going to take matters into our own hands. So translated, my message to Antifa and the left and other people who can and the news media who continue to lie about President Trump, who continue to put a target on the backs of people who are trying to defend this country and its borders and its principles, and to these individuals who continue to put targets on the backs of people who are just doing what is expected of any American leader. If I'm you all, first of all, I wouldn't push your luck. Secondly, I would be thanking President Trump instead of criticizing him, because without President Trump, the next step will be groups like this in America, and you don't want that. And I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you we can't have a society that is so broken down because our politicians have abdicated their responsibility that it's all everyone for themselves. You can't have a situation like that. And we don't want to get to a situation like that. And so that's why President Trump is doing something quite miraculous and is doing something that I think ultimately could save a life of a person on the left or whatever, because I'm telling you, you can't keep pushing people to the point where they're watching their very lives and their kids' futures go away because you all want more control and you don't like America or its values or stand up for them. So, it's not me. I don't support groups like this. I don't think that it is. I don't want this to happen, but it will. So if I'm you, I'm supporting President Trump in starting to fumigate the forces in this country that are causing so much damage to this country. This should be a unifying situation, but because these people, it's only politics. They know Trump is right. I mean, even when it comes to this whole war crimes nonsense, in fighting terrorists, there is no field of battle laws and rules. I mean, that's very simple. What's interesting though is how the Drudge Report and other people are going, war crimes? ? Some are wondering whether this is a war crime. I go, well, why don't you find out? Why don't you find out whether it's a war crime or not? I can. Anybody with a computer can find out whether or not what they are doing is a war crime. And the answer is it's not a war crime. These contacts with terrorist elements who are invading our country do not fall under any of the laws governing conflicts between military entities. It just doesn't. And so I keep on seeing this headline like, oh, is it a war crime? ? No, it's not. It's not. So, I mean, that's the answer. So why does the news media just kind of do kind of a remedial search of this? But anyway, this kind of propagandizing and running down of the country is going to create a fissure that I don't think a lot of people on the left or other people are going to want. You don't want it to get to the point where it's getting in Ireland, because there will be people like that. And believe me, they're far more aggressive than you in your spandex pants and faux military boots and your beret and your Hamas scarf. And if I'm you, I'm supporting President Trump's efforts because he's protecting you down the line. In Germany, you're seeing this too. So there is a survey that was done in Germany, and many young people have embraced religious and right-wing extremism. That was the headline. Well, guess what? The religious extremism is on the part of the Islamist young people, and the right-wing extremism, as they call it, I don't know what that is. I mean, that's another word, that we've allowed people just to say, because you never hear the term left-wing extremism, right? Like left-wing extreme, like it's pretty extreme to support violating the sovereignty of our borders. That's pretty extreme. It's pretty extreme to protect a murderer. That's pretty extreme. But we never hear the term left-wing extremist. Anyway, the so-called right-wing youth are rising up against the Islamist Sharia law pushing group. And so Germany now has a future that it's facing of an entire generation of young people. On one side, young Germans who are trying to protect the sanctity of their German heritage and culture and religion, and the Islamists who want to install Sharia law. You already saw, I believe this happened in one of the European countries, I can't remember, where an 11 or 12-year-old girl, you guys remember that? Walking to school, they literally brandished butcher knives to ward off some of these molesting North African migrants who were continue to prey on Europeans over there. So anyway, Ireland now, though, is in a situation where it's one hell of a lot more serious than it has ever been. And we never want to get to that point. And I guarantee you, President Trump is the one guy who will prevent that from getting to this point. Right now, the people who are causing the most agitations are people who simply are sore losers because they lost an election. That's really what it's all about. They have no real regard for the country. They have no virtue. They have no values. They have no honor. They have no concern for this country at all, and they have no morals. And because all they do is think about the fact they lost to Big Bad Orange Man, and that'll have to be fleshed out at some point, right? Yeah, you don't want to get to the point where you've got people like those guys in Ireland. And I wouldn't support that in any way, shape, or form, but people are humans. They can only take so much. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
One was on fire and no one could save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, a brand new supporter is an old friend of mine and a past supporter of the Allman brand, and his name is Mike Santino, and he's a good friend of mine. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Santino's Cigars and Cocktails. This is just off of 55 and at the Imperial exit, and it is a true top shelf experience. So I was going to try to get there last Friday, but of course, day after Thanksgiving, it was just, hectic. So I'm going to go down there this week. Rick Pogue really wants to go with me to check it out. They have a large humidor, hundreds of brands of cigars, pipes, pipe tobacco, accessories, and a unique selection of aged and rare cigars that are 7 to 9 years old. I kind of think I might go down there and smoke a pipe. How do you think? What do you guys think? Sit there in a big old chair and puff on a pipe like my grandpa used to do. Smoke filtration system that is used in Las Vegas. So, a lot of people, even though they smoke cigars, do that kind of thing, don't want to be suffocated by the smoke. So you've got that going for you. And then we have also, of course, the liquors. They have multiple TVs, by the way, so you never miss a big game. 2 fireplaces, one in the main lounge and the other one in the wine room. So they got a wine room there. And the membership program has one of the lowest costs around with the most benefits. Their member lockers are inside the perfectly controlled humidor, not outside the humidor like some other places. And they have also authentic Sicilian cuisine. Yeah, because, hey, you get it, right? Mike Santino, Sicilian cuisine, Tuesday through Saturday, lunch and dinner there. So you can have lunch there too, and get it Italian and Sicilian style. It's really great. Their food prepared by hand, and all the sauces are made from scratch. And also, by the way, the cocktails are some of the best in town. They use recipes to take classic drinks and balance them to perfection. So you have some mixologists there who are going to wow you. And of course, they have an unbelievable supply and choice for whiskeys and any kind of beautiful cocktails that you might want. Check it out. You can see for yourself at Santino's CigarsCocktails.com, Santino's CigarsCocktail.com, just off of Highway 55 at the Imperial exit.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
When you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Garden Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit newstalkstl.com. This is what's happening.
What New Yorkers are looking for is an era of consistency.
It's common sense or communism.
The actual policies don't have a lot of support.
We are not the crazy ones.
101.9 and 94.1.
Number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. So, you know what we could probably do there? I'm going to do this real quickly. Let's go ahead and call Nick. His Uber has landed. He's in a flying Uber. And so he's in the lobby, and I'll just tell him we're calling now. I don't even know what state. I don't even know where he is, but I'll ask him. Senator Nick Schroer. He was one of the first people, at least on Facebook and beyond, to notice that MoDOT had taken one big poop on the statewide stage in dealing with the snow and everything else. Because they did a really bad job. And this isn't about, my husband runs the plows and they're doing their best. I mean, I get it. It's not that. It's kind of like, when we talk about restaurant service or something, right? The people who are the employees of the restaurant are only as good as the commitment of the owners of the restaurant. And if the owners are putting you constantly behind the eight ball and everything else, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. And so all these MoDOT drivers, it's not their fault. I mean, they're just plow drivers, but they're not enough of them. And they don't have a plan. So now what happens is because we're all human beings and we're a little nutty, is we give, well, so it's not snowing anymore, so I can go 80 down the left lane at 270 until, of course, you realize they only plowed half of the lane. And so you're popping in there all of a sudden, right away. And then suddenly you're fishtailing and doing whatever. That's how accidents cause. And that's why people have been on 270 South for about an hour and a half now stuck. But you're listening to the Allman Report, so it's okay. I'm at least entertaining you, right? Senator Nick Schroer is in some land that I don't even know where you are. First of all, where are you?
I'll tell you where. It's where real country music is, and that's down in Texas, where Waylon Jennings was born down here, and I'm going to be nominated tonight for national award, the Justice Scalia Award, and we'll see. We'll see if I come home with the award in hand, or if it's just going to be a cool nomination.
Wow, well, first of all, it's really cool to be nominated. I mean, what, are you just one of 3 or something, or?
Yeah, I think there's either 3 or 4 that were nominated. One of the guys that won last year, I think, was the Attorney General for West Virginia, and then there was a national think tank that won it the year before. So having a little old state senator from Missouri nominated, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, you have done a lot, man. I mean, and I guess the essence of the award, because you're very active in defense of our liberties and in the true conservative movement, like Scalia was as a judge. He wasn't an activist judge. He was just a guy standing between people who were trying to invade the Constitution and those who weren't. So you, though, this particular award is designed basically to honor people who have promoted the values of liberty, right, in government.
Correct. Yeah, and have actually worked to restore the true meaning of government and downsizing it as much as we can. And that's one of the things that we're going to need to do in focusing on the issue you were just talking about with MoDOT, is revitalizing and thinking outside of the box and downsizing, cutting the waste, because what we've been doing year after year after year, and this goes back to when we had Democrat governors, this goes back to when Mike Parson was the governor. This isn't necessarily a political issue. This is a bipartisan issue that we're getting screwed, taxpayers are, because in 2023, the Supreme Court, the Missouri Supreme Court, took away the legislative role in directing how money can be spent with MoDOT. And that's why you've got people kicking and screaming, saying, go out there, recruit, retain, give them more raises. And you've got all these asinine projects that they're doing that really don't make any sense. But in 2023, the Supreme Court, after that horrendous, we all remember the horrendous gas tax increase that I voted against. Well, that was supposed to go to fixing roads and bridges and helping maintain clear roads when it's snowing, things like that. They started giving it to their bigwigs and giving people raises, and a lawsuit ensued. Thereafter, the Missouri Supreme Court said, the Missouri legislature, they've got the power of doling out the money to MoDOT, but MoDOT can spend it however they want. Case in point, there's a sound wall that's needed out off of 364 that MoDOT refuses to put up, even if we were going to pass legislation that they've acknowledged to myself and Senator Schnelting, they're just going to do whatever the hell they want to do with the money.
Wow. Well, and not to mention this, Senator Schroer, this is not cool because first of all, MoDOT, when every time they're audited, and they're audited fairly regularly, at least over the past 10 years or so, I've seen a few, and the audits constantly find ways in which they're really seriously dropping the ball, which which is shocking because every time you turn around, they're asking for more money. And some of the things found in the audit would be just even people who where MoDOT decides they're going to build a pet on-ramp for somebody in their district because they asked for it, or it's not right.
Well, it's not right, especially when you've got people's lives at risk. Yesterday, I mean, I've been very vocal about this. I've been very vocal year after year. And we almost had a bill passed my first year in the Senate, and then things kind of broke down. We have new leadership now. Spoken to Cindy O'Laughlin and Tony Lutkemeyer that something needs to change. I know that the leadership in the House is wanting to change it because they passed one of those bills, which would essentially put on the ballot. We would get the chance to vote on it. Do we want to maintain status quo, or do we want to go back to where the legislature can actually dictate how money is being used? And I'm going to be filing another bill that's going to get rid of the immunity, the qualified immunity that MoDOT has. If you can prove that they screwed up, like yesterday, there was no pre-treatment. Myself and Jim Avery, who I know you've had on the show before, we were sitting in the office yesterday. It's 8:30. We saw that the storm was coming through, and we acted accordingly. Hours later, when the storm hit, we didn't see a MoDOT car anyway. So a lot of people that I've seen and I've spoken to on social media, saw countless wrecks yesterday. One of those people reached out to me saying, "Hey, I saw your car or your truck with the special license plates." And yeah, we've got picture after picture after picture. Some of these people said that they lost members in the wrecks yesterday. And as of right, MoDOT have a clean slate. There's no way to go after them because not necessary immunity. And that's one thing that we're going to have to revisit, to have them, or get off the pot.
Well, that was the thing. Yesterday, I was really surprised because I wasn't really paying attention to the weather forecast. I was assuming it was coming later in the afternoon, even though my son's flight wound up being delayed, but I didn't know what was going on. And then suddenly it starts snowing right about the time I hit the road to come out to the station. And it became a disaster fast. Yep. I mean, and talk about pre-treatments, whatever. There was, I mean, it might as well have been a blizzard because of the way people were moving and everything else. I was shocked. And then, of course, it takes 2.5 hours, an hour and a half to get home. But still, and then last night, when my kids' plane finally did take off, I'm on 170, and half of 170 is plowed. The rest is just like there's piles of snow everywhere. That's just crazy.
Yeah, even today, I just got off the phone right before you guys called. I was on the phone with our county councilman, Joe Brazel, and he's trying to get people from MoDOT to come out to Western St. Charles County in Defiance and Augusta, where you've got T, D, Double D, 94, all of these roads that MoDOT should have plowed. And it looks like they came through maybe with a toothpick and had one little path that one tire can get every now and again. But we've got a bunch of people back in St. Charles County saying, what am I spending my money on? And even yesterday, the countless families that you see in these cars that have ran off the road. I was on 64 for a while. It took me an hour and a half to get to my girls' school, which should have taken about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't see a plow, didn't see a MoDOT car anywhere. But it was finally, when you get into the cities, O'Fallon, Weldon Spring, St. Peter's, they did a damn good job of actually utilizing their tax dollars and cleaning their streets. The homeowners associations, which I despise normally, they actually use their money appropriately because those things were pristine as well. Something has to change because I don't want to sound like my grandpa back in my day.
Yeah.
But I remember literally walking to school when we had a foot of snow on the ground thinking, gosh, dog, why can't we cancel school? Now you've got a dusting that shuts down the entire city, the entire region, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, it was interesting because what happened is, I think I'm not quite sure what the forecast was like. Well, first I want to get to D here. So I've been out there, that area of Defiance. It's not just that it's snow covered, but that area is treacherous even just by the way it's built and its curves and dips and things like that. If that's even remotely icy, it's a disaster for people. It's crazy.
Yeah, Joe Brazel was out there 2 hours plus yesterday at one point trying to direct traffic because cars couldn't get up a certain hill. So you had to let one go and see if it could make it. And if it couldn't, see if it gets back down, gets enough momentum to get back up. And he said there were 5 cars that are still in the ditch over by the August Busch shooting range in St. Charles County. There were countless cars because it turns and it whips around. There were countless cars that ran off the road. Again, this is unnecessary. We knew the storm was coming. Yes, it did come a little bit earlier than anticipated, but my little novice self was still able to get on Hyperlocal Extreme. It's a Facebook page I follow with all of these weather experts. Jim Avery was able to get on NOAA's website and look at their radar. We are not working for MoDOT. And you could even turn on your local news and find out that the storm was going to come around 11 or 12, and there was zero reaction. And again, I'm sick and tired of hearing the excuses year after year after year after year. While they're getting fat on our tax dollars, we're risking life and limb and property by kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't just that, but most people knew, at least the weather people knew, the storm was going to be coming by 11 o'clock the night before. It wasn't like it just can't. It wasn't like at 10:30. It's like, oh, there's the storm. And so what's interesting is, and this is totally interesting, because normally in St. Louis, I mean, you get one little suggestion that it's going to, snow, and they close everything. But nobody closed anything. And so by the time noon came around and it was basically blizzarding, everybody was at work, and then everybody left work at the same time to get home,
Well, a lot of the schools in St. Charles County were early releasing their kids. So not only did you have these young kids that may have never driven in something like this on the road, you had all of these family members myself included, trying to leave work to go to school to get their kids. And again, I mean, it's a simple expectation that when you know a storm is coming, do some sort of treatment, do some sort of pre-treatment. And again, just saying that, we thought the storm was coming later. But why weren't you treating around noon, preparing for a 3 o'clock storm?
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of common sense questions that MoDOT is refusing to answer. And I think it goes back to having no accountability. They're accountable to nobody because of that 2023 Supreme Court decision that says, nope, they're kind of on their own. They're kind of autonomous. As long as you keep funding them, then they can do whatever they want. So maybe there's a conversation here. Rather than funding them, let's start funding the cities. Let's start funding the locals because they're doing the job a hell of a lot better than our own Department of Transportation.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the answer. I think it's as you point out that these other cities did a better job of cleaning the streets. I mean, I know even where I am in the Richmond Heights area, they did a pretty good job. So I was really pleasantly surprised by all that. Okay, so session starts January what? 7th or something?
I think it's January 7th. We December 1st we started pre-filing, and somebody brought to my attention that I've filed the most bills out of all the House members and Senate members, that I filed the most. But we've got a lot of good stuff. Keep Our Schools Safe Act is the top bill that I filed, dealing with ensuring that armed and trained officers, whether it's a former military member that's donating their time, or a former cop that's donating their time, or if you're hiring a resource officer, we need these schools to be safe, just like our stadiums, just like our amusement parks, where, if crime breaks out, you've got people on the scene ready to protect our most vulnerable. We've got a Lyme Disease Education and Eradication Act. That's going to be a huge one. I haven't told a lot of people, but I have been recently diagnosed with Lyme disease myself. And a lot of people have been coming out of the woodwork saying how they have been as well. We've got the No Sharia Law Act that's going to put an end to Sharia law ever having a place in the state of Missouri. And we've got another one, the Keep Missourians Safe Act, which is a Second Amendment bill on steroids to protect your God-given rights that our founders knew was so important that they put in as our Second Amendment.
You mentioned Lyme disease. I know someone from long ago who contracted that. And it's really difficult. I mean, people might think it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it can be really bad. And so that's a good idea to try to figure out how to get that. Because, I mean, with all the hunting we all do here, and
absolutely. I mean, even in St. Charles County, which I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. Our family farm is out in Fayette, Missouri. I firmly believe I've had Lyme disease for a very long time, even dating back to maybe grade school, absolutely high school. But a lot of people have it far worse than I do. There are a lot of people that I know who can't get out of bed, who have incredible pain, who have had neurological issues, who have had breathing issues with their heart. So it impacts people differently. You've even got the alpha gal, which is now spreading across our region. Where you can't eat red meat, you're allergic to.
Oh
red
yeah,
meat.
I heard about that, man.
Well, and it's gotten so prevalent that now even 60 Minutes is saying that this is a public health crisis. And in the state of Missouri, the way our insurance works, most of these insurance companies are only covering for a certain type of blood test, which is only tipping the very edges of the types of Lyme disease that we have in our region. So educating some of the local legislators, it's been a grueling task, but I think we're well on our way to adding this to the public health crisis and educating people on how to get testing, how to get treatment. And the earlier you get treatment, the earlier you get the testing, the proper testing, the better your outlook is going to be with this disease.
Well, so about real quickly, because I know you got to get going, and it's the event's tonight, right?
Yeah, the event's going to be 6 p.m. tonight, and I've got the black cowboy boots and the black hat honoring Waylon Jennings down here in Texas.
Right on. Yep, I know. Bob Wills is still the king, but Waylon's not far behind. But hey, that blood. I just was reading an article the other day about that thing, and it was some thing you contract, and then you eat red meat, and it can kill you.
Yeah, that's a tick-borne illness as well. That's alpha-gal. And even though the media comes out saying, hey, this is the first documented case of somebody dying who ate the meat, and this guy, I think, ended up getting a tick bite at some point, didn't really have a reaction to it, goes to eat some barbecue, got sicker than a dog. A couple of weeks later, has a cheeseburger, not knowing that it's all related, and ends up dying from it. He went into shock and ended up dying from eating red meat.
Wow.
Now, that might be the first documented case that the media is talking about, but talking to the healthcare experts, even here in the state of Missouri, they said, no, there are a lot of people that we know that the government experts, the government would not recognize that this person died from a tick-borne illness. But it's more, okay, thank you. It's more prevalent than many people are talking about. And that's why you even have 60 Minutes covering alpha-gal and covering Lyme disease in all of its different facets. There's so many different strains that you can have. And that's why it was the second bill that I filed, because it's impacting a heck of a lot of people, not only in St. Charles County, but in the state of Missouri.
All right, brother. Well, listen, Senator Nick Schroer, thanks so much for your diligence on the MoDOT issue and beyond and all those things you're talking about. And we're super proud of you, super proud of our great senator from Missouri, state of Missouri, possibly going to be receiving that national award, the Antonin Scalia Award. And best of luck to you, dude. We'll be praying for you, and can't wait to hear the news.
Yeah, God bless y'all. Thanks for having me on, and I'll update you once I know.
All right. That is Nick Schroer, who's an award winner anyway, as far as we're concerned, right? Exactly. Oh, isn't it crazy? People all think that Pete Hegseth is being drummed out because of the death of a bunch of narco terrorists. It's like, good luck with that, people. I mean, my goodness. Pete Hegseth is on the ropes. Well, you wouldn't see that if you looked at him at the cabinet meeting today. Doesn't look like anybody's on the ropes there. He's on a swing. It's Common Sense Radio.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. I was just talking about Richard earlier because he met Dr. Ogile, who came in from the Clayton Sleep Institute. He came in because Dr. Ogile wanted to be a customer of Richard Newsteader's, because Richard Newsteader not only has an amazing jewelry store, staffed by jewelers and not salespeople, but because Richard Newstetter also supports the same thing that Dr. Ojal does, and that is free, common sense, conservative radio. So here's the deal. I talked to Richard the other night about this because we are going to have Diana in, I think, later on this week to talk about some of the things that are going to wow you. And we were even talking about having some kind of, I guess so you call them bazaars, right? So we'll maybe be at the Missouri Athletic Club, bring some examples and maybe sell some gift cards for lower the price. So we're looking into that. So keep an eye out for mid-December on something of that nature. But for the meantime, they're right there at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend. And then all you have to do is go on in. They have a wish list. If you want to go on there and you are a gal who is wanting to let your husband in on the secret of what you want for Christmas, then go in, shop around, just write it down on the wish list, and there it is. And all you have to do is tell your lovey to walk in and see what's on your wish list and fire away. That's all you got to do. Layaway programs are also old school, but that's the way Richard and the team operate. They are vintage in the way they deal with customer service and in the way they are true jewelers as opposed to salespeople. They have, I was talking to Richard about this too. I said how fun it was to see Diana the other day showing me the stack rings. And these are really beautiful, playful rings. And playful, I mean, you could just kind of mix and match them, but they're thin rings with beautiful jewels on them and whatever kinds you want. And then you can mix and match them, maybe leave one off and put a couple on, whatever it happens to be, whatever your desires are, you could play around with them. And they really make a great addition to a female wardrobe. Also, for the males, how about the Bull of a Watch? The Frank Sinatra Bull of a Watch line is outstanding. It's amazing. It's incredible. And I have one on my wrist right now, and people love it. And don't forget, of course, about the diamonds. These are lab-grown diamonds. These are the mine diamonds. You have your choice between the two. Jackie, who is Richard's wife, was the one who coined the term wow diamonds, because you look at the diamonds and you do say wow, wowdiamonds.com. Also, plenty of gold there. Gold is back in, by the way, and plenty of the beautiful gemstones there as well. Newstetter's fine jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com.
Dr. Draghi and his team at Esquire Sports Medicine get pros back on the field, so they can certainly help you. You need an MRI, X-ray, CAT scan, pre- or post-surgery treatment, rehab. The chiropractic physicians at Esquire can help you or connect you to experts you need. And I know you're hurting right now. You don't want to wait. Esquire sees new patients often within 24 hours. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Columbo and Company.
Travel warnings being issued not for winter weather, but for gang activity. We'll explain Tuesday. Plus, Crane Durham from NothingButTruth.com and legal expert Susie Bourne.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's interesting to hear that the MAGA's on the way out and it's a passing phase. President Trump has 87% approval rating among Republicans. No Republican has ever had that high of a rating. And no Democrat has had that high of a rating. Barack Obama didn't even have an 87% approval in the Democrat Party. So these people are just wet dreaming out there, and I feel bad for them, but it's not working out. Here's another great example of where it's like, hey, guess what? We don't care. This is at the cabinet meeting today. Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump.
As I've said, and I'll say again, we've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. And Joe Biden tried to approach it with kid gloves. and allow them to come across the border. Cartels take over community, 20 million people, hundreds of thousands of Americans poisoned. And President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations. And it's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco terrorists, and we're standing.
And you may say one thing, that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%. And I don't know who the 9% is.
I'm not sure either, sir.
But down 91% by sea.
We've had a bit of a pause because it's hard to find boats to strike right now, which is the entire point.
Yeah, because you can't find, I mean, come on. So things are working out swimmingly. Not so well for the narco terrorists who are not swimming but sinking. So treading de agua is what they're doing before they get incinerated. That's how it goes, and it's not a war crime. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much. Coming up, Colombo and Company, it's Common Sense Radio.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make